Hi everyone, welcome to this brand new series on the dope with Travel Biz Monitor. It's called The Big Fix. This is the first episode. I'd like to welcome you all. I have four very eminent personalities with me from the travel associations today. This is Jyoti Mayal, represent the Travel Agents Association of India, which is India's oldest and possibly the largest association. Mr. P.P. Khanna, who represents the Association of Domestic Tour Operators of India, also known as ADTOI. Mr. Subhash Goyal, who besides wearing many hats over the years in the travel industry, is today also the Secretary General of FAIR, which is the federation of all the travel and hospitality associations in India. Pradeep Lulla is the president of the Travel Agents Federation of India at TAFE, which was born, I think, at least 32 years ago. So coming straight back to you, Jyoti, I'd like to know, why is it that when, like the most obvious question that I asked, why is it when most powerhouses can function with 2 or 3 apex travel bodies, some even with 1, why is it that in India we need 15 of them?
Hi, Sheldon. Thanks for having me over. Thanks, Dope. Thank Travel Biz Monitor for actually initiating this viewpoint, which I think is very important, because I think that's something which we also keep saying as different associations, separate associations covering separate avenues of travel and tourism. So I think this is something which is in everyone's mind, right? We also say the same. There are so many associations that the government also doesn't realize that whom do they listen to and whom do they don't. Of course, coming back to TAI, I think TAI is the oldest nodal body, like you said, actually established in 1951, which is like 69 years back. And it started with a few people with the similar thought processes that actually got this going. But slowly and steadily, we started seeing people moving out. Well, I'm going to say this very clearly and straightforwardly. I think when associations start breaking, I think the cause is not that the association is not delivering. I think the cause is that everyone wants their importance. And I think that is the reason that associations really break up, because everyone feels that they know better. And even when I sit on this chair, I feel I know better than anyone else. So I think that is what happens. And when your thoughts are not heard aloud, and it's not a democratic way of working, where you are not heard, where things are not put in the right charter of working. So I think that is what happens. Because what does the association really mean? I think the association really means that what are we here for? We are not here for doing a daily work for our members. What we are here for is creating a charter of how this organization should be run, or this industry should be run. And that is what associations are all about, to actually set standards, and how to make governance easy, so that we are able to actually say our mind very clearly with the government, and the government hears us very strong. I have heard the ministers comment about it, saying, oh, we don't know which association to hear to. So I've heard that myself. So I'm not blaming the world or globally, or India basically, because today only in the morning we were having a meeting and I heard we have 97 associations in India. So I think that's a huge number, which I didn't realize they were so huge. But yes, every state, every city, I think every avenue of travel and tourism has an association, which I think is not the right format, because either you believe in it or you don't believe in it. If you believe in associations, then you should believe in associations who can actually deliver, and you should not be very selfish about what importance you are getting. I think everyone without a chair can also give in their best to association. I'm also the vice chairperson of FAIR. And what we have seen, the best thing about coronavirus or the COVID pandemic, which has come into this globally set in, is that we have actually united together. And I say that very proudly also, that, I've never expected that to happen. And I think maybe it's going to be setting examples in the future that how we need to work and how we should not be working. Saying that, I would say that associations are very important, but yes, the government also needs to realize which is actually relevant, which is not relevant. The members need to decide them by themselves, which is relevant, which is not relevant, and actually not create this fractional shift into the entire system. I think that's what it should be like.
Thanks for the opening thoughts, Jyoti. But for the government, that's going to be a really difficult thing, because every association that we have goes and claims to them that we are the most relevant. We have the largest membership base. we are this, that, and the other. So I'm going to take from what you said. You asked, is it too late for the associations to come together and function together? So I'm going to pass that to Pradeep. Pradeep, you the president of TAFE. Many years ago, it was actually a break-off offshoot from TAI. So do you think that it's too late for the associations to come and join together, or do you agree with Jyoti? It's all about a position of who gets the chair, and the chair means power. So we'll keep seeing these breakout associations happening in India with no meaning at all.
Thank you, Sheldon, for inviting me here. Historically, TAFE was formed about 32 years back. Yes, even till today, I'm a TAI member, and I was a TAI member before I became a chartered member of TAFE. So we formed a charter. We were only 8 of us, and that's how we formed it. Now, that time things were different. What that time TAI was, of course, I was a member even that time, but TAI was not making members. They were saying that people who were discounting in the market were disrupting the market. And discounting was there, but there was hypocrisy. IATA used to have an inspector who used to go around. Everyone used to discount in cash and other things. And when the inspector would come, everyone would pass this. And so it was not disrupting. But yes, there were certain people who were giving more discounts than others to leverage themselves to get business. And this is how TAFE was actually formed, because the membership was not open to them to TAI. And because I was amongst both in Mumbai, and so this is how we formed. Now, going forward, of course, we are all members of Faith, and Subhash Bhai, our veteran, he was also, he's helped TAFE to grow. Now, I have a different view. I compare an association to your wife. When she's there, you take her for granted. And when she's not there, everything is chaos. I mean, who makes the food, who governs, who does this, who does that. So therefore, I always feel that if you actually want to analyze something by saying that, things are going wrong, first you should analyze and see that if an exception of that, what would be? Now, let us say an exception of associations. You think things would carry on. I also feel IATA is very important.
Yeah.
Because in an interview, I was the only one who said that, IATA is a wonderful platform, because the levels of default worldwide, including in India, is 0.1 or 0.2%. But unfortunately, IATA only looks at the interests of airlines. But as a platform, if IATA was not there, and which we used to deal with airlines separately, there would be chaos. So similarly, in associations, whether it's TAI, whether there's IATO, whether there's TAFE and TAI are basically okay. We have got members who are, sometimes the members are also overlapping. Like I'm also a TAI member, though I'm a president of TAFE. And so it is now in ticketing, we have, for instance, outbound ticketing. So our basic core members are people who are doing international tickets.
Right.
Then you have IATO, which does tours. You have ADTOI, which the core is domestic. See, India today is, it's not a country, it's a continent. We have so many states, and everyone is got, now in Kerala, for instance, there are so many associations, and there is also an association, which is the umbrella body of those associations. What I'm trying to say that when you have frustrations, you take it out. But yes, we have Faith, which is a very good thing. All associations, 10 of us are members of Faith. The government is getting all the feedback over there. But now you need someone to wash your dirty linen. Unfortunately, the thing in our country is the government does not have the money. We contribute 10% of the GDP. Manufacturing contributes 18%, and you have basically the agricultural sector, which is contributing 14% and getting 50% of the benefits, because we don't, because of, I'm just trying to say that.
Actually, Pradeep, that's a good point. I'll just come in there in a minute. I'll just come into Mr. Goyal straight, because he's spoken about Faith, Mr. Goyal. Pradeep's made a good point there that, Faith is the apex body. He's also said that the association is like a wife. So you are the federation of all associations. So you have the largest wife, Mr. Goyal.
He has a
How,
harem.
how do you how do you manage that wife? And why is it that the government is not listening to your wife?
There is a saying, Sheldon, that necessity is the mother of invention, right? India, with a population of 1.3 billion people and more than 29 states and other union territories, is, as rightly mentioned by Pradeep, is a subcontinent, right? So you cannot compare India with those countries where there has only one association, right? Maybe in a country like China where there's no democracy, you can think of there also, there are two, three associations. Even in America, there are about three, four associations. There's US tour operators, there's American travel
Yes, there
agents,
is.
there is ASTA, there is, few other adventure association. See, basically, I have been associated, I think, the longest in the industry, last 45 years. I'm not only one of the founder members of TAFI, but even when AD2I started, I was there. And see, all associations have a very important role to play, right? You cannot say that they are irrelevant. If they were irrelevant, then no one would be paying their money to join the association. Because unless there are membership benefits, no one even spends 10 rupees, right? What to pay thousands of rupees of membership fee. So I think
Yes.
all associations are relevant. Now, what was happening? What was the necessary of Faith? I'm also one of the founder members of Faith. I know when I was president of IATO, we had a lot of in-house opposition to Faith, and
Right.
finally we had to go to a referendum, and I spoke to every member, and we got 97% votes in favor of joining Faith. Faith is not an association. Faith is the collective voice of all the 10 associations. Without the 10 associations, Faith is zero. But whatever Faith is, the board of directors, all the elected presidents of all the 10 major associations are board members of Faith. So whatever issues Faith takes up, it is on behalf of all the 10 associations. Similarly, now during COVID-19, I think for the first time, every single member of parliament was contacted, every BJP leader was contacted, right from the Prime Minister's office to Niti Aayog to finance, everyone was contacted. But the feedback that we got is not only the tourism industry, but no other industry has got any. I mean, forget about the industry. The poor migrant worker could not get anything, right? Had it not been for certain, individuals and certain charitable institutions and the gurdwaras, right? A lot of migrant workers would have died. The government has not come up with any financial support, or at that time, even to help them in transportation, right? So basically, the voice of the industry, the collective voice, has been very effectively represented by Faith, right? Yes, we have not been successful the way we wanted, but still, we were able to get through RBI a moratorium for certain, periods. We are now wanting to get it extended till 31st March 2021. Secondly, we were able to at least press upon the MSc ministries, because 90% of our members come under MSc. And we had also asked all the members, even those who are not member of IATO or TAI or TAFI, but who are in the unorganized sector, right? They can register free of cost in the MSME. So MSME sectors are getting certain, rebates, 20% of whatever their thing was, a little bit help. I don't
Right.
think it has helped much, but something is better than nothing. And the fight is not over. You see, we are still working together. I'm sure that Rome was not built in a day. This was an unprecedented crisis. So I don't agree with you that the associations are irrelevant or Faith is irrelevant. I think all the associations have a very, very important role to play.
If Faith is the collective voice, then Faith should be the only association talking on behalf of this
No,
industry to the government.
no, I don't agree with you. Faith is taking up all the common issues. For example, the Ministry of Tourism asked IATO that we are only wanting those who are, doing inbound tourism and who are, foreign exchange earners. So in that meeting, Ministry of Tourism invited IATO, adventure tour operators and domestic tour operators, right, who were connected. Now, there are overlapping in Thai and Tafi also. People are doing inbound tourism. Faith is supporting Tafi in that. Whatever information they need, whatever information Thai needs, whatever AD2I needs, we are. So Faith is the collective association. Right now, it is the single voice as far as the minimum common program is concerned, right?
What you're saying is that all the associations are relevant according to you,
They're
and they
very
all
relevant.
need to exist. I think domestic to tourism is everything that everyone's putting their bets on going forward. How does the Association of Domestic Tour Operators plan to help the members in this to come out of this COVID and to actually get back into business in domestic tourism?
First of all, I am thankful to you, Sheldon, for organizing this. What exactly associations are doing? That's a very, very important issue. A lot of people are saying that what exactly the associations are doing and why we should become the member of the associations. So this is definitely those members who are asking about that exactly. They don't understand the basic the problems which are arising today. It was never expected that this kind of a disease will come anywhere, and it is like that. Can I ask those people, those who are asking what actually associations are doing? The same way, if I ask today the scientists or the doctors why they are unable to find the vaccine till today, it is almost more than 6 months. What doctors are doing, what the scientists are doing, the same way exactly they are trying their best. The same way even the associations are doing their best to find out the solutions. Where exactly, like Jyoti ji said, Pradeep ji said, girls have said that we are the government since started due to this COVID for our bailout packages. And we are all together. We are united, whether it's a Faith, CII, FICCI, the SOCHM, PID, we are all together. We are united with each other. And what exactly we are fighting for that, unfortunately, it is a very disappointing and embarrassing for all of us, for the state, for the whole state, that government could not do anything. And even finance minister never, announced anything for this sector. This is a very, very disappointing for everything.
So
everybody.
Pradhana, what's the plan? How does ADTOI plan to stand by its members and see them through this really difficult phase in business?
See what exactly, as everybody is saying that today, all the panelists, that we are all together, we are trying our best. It is not like that we are still in the dark. We are wanting to have that, the sun rise again, where exactly we are finding some solutions for that. As not only the Faith, individually also, like Mr. Goel said, individually are also, we are trying to go to the, the ministries to raise our problem, and to the Niti Aayog also. That day actually from the the Thai Mrs. Mayal, she had gone individually to raise their problems. I, along with the ITO, had gone to say our problems exactly, what exactly we want from the the government. This kind of, we are trying our best to do that. And what exactly are we doing during this session? We thought that why not to do some kind of a knowledge sessions? Why people are sitting idle? So we have done a lot of knowledge sessions for our members. Otherwise, we don't get the time to, even to, read or to understand which state is to be promoted, which destinations to be promoted, which hotels to be promoted. So differently with the state government, with the tourism, and with the also with the lot of hoteliers, we have done a lot of webinars with them to utilize this time at least. So we are utilizing their time, so that exactly till we don't get any bailout package from the government, or till this COVID doesn't go, till we are unable to find the vaccine, we should be doing something at least for the members. So we are doing knowledge sessions. We are doing different, the hotel presentations with the state tourism board. So this kind of things we are doing. We are not sitting idle. Members are really very happy. At least they are utilizing their time with the knowledge sessions. They know that what kind of hotels are there, what kind of the packages they can sell. We are ready. Unfortunately, the states different, because today center has no control over the states. Every state has they are taking individually their own, the decisions to make the whether to do the quarantine for 7 days, 14 days, or 3 days, or not to do the quarantine. It is their own decision. Individually, the people are working. Individually, the states are working. But exactly, it is required that we are all united, but we need a good governance. That is the require of the time, and we are ready to have the better deliverance to our clients.
Pradeep, I'm going to come back to you. Your Taffy recently moved the court. I think the Supreme Court for the refund issues. Am I right?
Yeah.
Why? So this is a common problem, Pradeep. A lot of travel agents have their funds stuck right now with the airlines, and a lot of airlines are using the credit shell as an excuse. Even airlines which can pay, and I'm sure you agree with me. So can you give me a little background on what Taffy did, and why was it not a collective effort of all the ticketing agents together to move the court against these airlines, or actually boycott a few of these airlines? Can you give me some background?
Yes. Taffy, of course, we also approached through Faith, Mocha, and we also had Mocha to have a meeting with IATA about the data, what were the refunds pending, and IATA cooperated and gave the data to Mocha. Then Mocha came up with a statement that any tickets which were issued during the lockdown, that refunds would be given. Now that was an eyewash because tickets were issued before. I mean, everyone was closed, no tickets were issued. So we felt personally that it was testing our intelligence. That's one. And refund is a lifeline. I do understand. Even IATA head, he wrote to everybody that airlines are in big problem, and that the refunds are in billions, and so many airlines have to be funded. But the point is that now we are an intermediary, and our pockets are smaller. The government has not given any other support. Of course, we left no stone unturned through Faith. We went to every department, but unfortunately, the policy of the government, they did not look at travel and tourism in the aspect which other countries have looked into, where you compare to US and other places where there were even incentives given. So there was this case basically actually filed by an NGO, Pravasi International, which was brought to our notice, and we had a MC meeting, and all our members said that that credibility is getting affected, refunds are not being given, and there are crores of money lying, and it affects the chain because in travel, you have a consolidator who sells to a retailer and who goes to the passenger, or you have a tour operator who takes deposits in advance and gives it to the hotels and gives it to the airlines, and then if he doesn't get the refunds, naturally he cannot pay from his pocket. What he's earning is that margin, whatever is 5% or whatever. So this affected their credibility. So we said, okay, let us also file a case to the airlines, because we felt that the regulator was not enforcing, because what statement they came up with was, anyone would say that it was not wanting to support. Yes, in principle, I can speak to people, but the underlining was there was no support. So we said, yes, if the court order, and even now, because of this pressure, certain airlines have abided, like, Emirates and all, they said that they would give refunds and all that. But we said, if we can get through the court and order, then even for future, we can do business in a proper way. Because even today, when airlines are even doing on these special flights and all, and unfortunately, if the money is blocked, they're not paying refunds as per the IATA system, where the refund should be adjusted in your GDS in the payment cycle. You have an RA.
So Pradeep, what has been achieved so far by this court order? And my second part of my question was, why wasn't TIE or ETA or all the other ticketing agents a party to this? Because it may have been a good move. It may have been more effective if there were more parties to it. So why was this not there? I mean, at this unprecedented time, shouldn't all of these ticketing associations or agents come together and file one case in Supreme Court?
Every individual association to come forward and support if they feel. It is the membership or the board which takes place. But when things, see, it's not that we did not try on its own merit, but when it was not happening, and when we realized that today in India, if you don't enforce, and if there's no court order, now even in things which is happening, if you see in Bollywood that Sushant Rajput, and everyone's going to court even for things like that. I mean, if you don't enforce, you will not get your right. This is what we felt in TAFE. And we invited, everyone was willing to join. We shared, even through Subhashji, I shared my details. I got details from them about what are the issues and how we should move forward. But the reason what we move forward was only not for now, but even for future, that we want we want the credibility to be maintained. Because now today, the business is already done on a smaller, now even today, in domestic and others, only 50% of the business is done. And if refunds are not doing well, we can't do business with corporates or anybody.
Jyoti, as TIE, would you all not have liked to be part of this? I'm sure your agents are also facing the same problem that TAFE is facing, or ETA is facing, or IATO is facing. The airlines are taking advantage of this credit shell, and nothing really is happening there. So wouldn't you have wanted to be part of this joint effort to make sure that some airlines start to pay immediately?
Well, Sheldon, it's a very difficult question actually, because there's a thought process.
Which is why I'm asking it.
Yes, I think you always bring all the difficult questions to me. Knowing me, I'm going to just answer it. See, it's a thought process, right? So when this NGO, which had actually put this case in front, was actually from the consumer side. I mean, that's something which Pradeep overlooked to say. It was not on behalf of the travel agents. The case that had actually pleaded into the Supreme Court was from the consumer side, making consumer the king and saying the money should be given to the consumer. So I think that is what we actually, as TIE, ignored it, because we didn't really feel that we needed to fight the consumer battles, because the travel agent battles were anyway enough. We had already moved to APJC, we had already moved to IATA, we had written to the DG, we had written to every airline separately, we had written to MOCA. So there was nothing we had actually left to chance or left to speculation. We had actually started working much before the lockdown also. So when this came in, I think TAFE had a meeting, and where they realized that the relevance was there, and without even thinking of that urgency, they moved. So I think that was a step which they took, because I think they felt it was very urgent, and that's for them to take a call, of course, because like we said, we are associations, we need to take our calls ourselves. So they had already done it. So when they came back to us and we started talking about it, the need was there. But the point was that it was already done. So we thought then, now that the point it's already done, let's adapt two roles. Let's one take a softer route, and let's one take the harder route, because it's already done and we have not filed it together. So I think that was okay. That was perfect. And we took a softer route, saying, okay, we will keep convincing MOCA, and they tried going to the court. But I would say that, the softer route started working much before the court really moved. And I'm not saying anything, that's not TAFE's thinking. That is the way our country's courts work. You bring a lawyer who actually makes the judges stand up to, give in their verdicts. So I think that's how the country moves, and you can't blame the associations for it. It's the government or the supreme bodies that are behaving like that. So whatever was happening, then we came into a joint effort, and that's the time Faith started getting involved, and IATO also impleaded. But we thought it was too late to implead. And what we felt was that if we really need to implead, we would implead as a holistic view, as the entire fraternity being challenged for the right way of working by the airlines. So even we've still got that in mind. If things do not move the right way, which we've already had a discussion with Faith, we've already had a discussion with Taffy, that we need to work together, but we need to work on a broader perspective with the right people there to face the courts so that we actually come out winning. Because that's what I feel, that we should, when we implement certain things like this, it should be a win-win situation. We wouldn't want to lose and give anyone an opportunity to say, hey, you are weak. We are not weak. So that is what we need to get it for.
I'm glad you think like that, because that's exactly what I'm saying. But I'm going to stay with you because there's something that both you and PP Karna. That in this lockdown, you all have been taking advantage of the time to do knowledge sessions for your members through webinars and through other means, right? So my point is, right now, the crux of the matter is your members are out of money. A lot of the SMEs are on the street. A lot of them are on the verge of shutdown. And so I'm going to ask you a candid question, because I know I've been party to this, but I'm going to question what we've been doing. So I'm going to ask you and PP, having done knowledge sessions now, do you think they will actually add value to your members who are completely out of cash in the future, and for their future business? I mean, how is this actually going to help?
Sheldon, I think education as knowledge is never a failure in life. I've always heard it while I was growing up, that knowledge is something you don't lose out on. If you're learning something, that stays for you for life. Knowledge always remains with you for life. See, people may, if they are really going out of business, is because of different reasons. Not that there would be a lack of knowledge or continuity or, guidance, or support from the association. So that is what we have actually been trying to do. We've had webinars on different avenues. We had airlines with ITA, we had with airlines, we've had with tourism, with state tourisms. We've had given them technology options. We've done with medical, telling them how antibody testing is going to help you, or how this testing, which has now come into prevalence with the Civil Aviation Ministry or the Tourism Ministry, how is it going to be very effective? Yesterday we had with a job platform, we've done with MSMEs and taxes, which you were a part of it. So, we've been trying to educate them. We've got them all enrolled in MSMEs. We have been trying to support them. We wouldn't want anyone to go out of business, for sure.
On how are your members going to benefit from this, when actually what they need right now is cash?
But rightly said, Jyoti ji, is that education and knowledge is for the lifetime. That's very rightly she expressed about that. And let me tell everybody here that, why we do all this, the different states. We have almost done with the 14 states, the webinars, and with almost 8 or 9 hotels, we have done the webinars. The thing is, today we don't know exactly after COVID, which states are going to open, which hotels are going to open. So we have a choice where exactly, if we have a knowledge about that particular state or particularly hotel, we can sell and we can really do the marketing for that hotels and we can sell that. So this is the time where exactly the knowledge is always is for the lifetime. And exactly we know that where exactly we have to go, which destinations are open after the COVID or post-COVID, so that we can sell that and we can survive and revive.
Thanks, Mr. Khanna. Before I wrap this up, Mr. Goyal, I have a very candid question for you. I think you've held positions in all the associations, in Faith, in FICCI, in CII, and I don't know where to stop. So I'm going to ask you a very candid question. I want a very candid answer from you. Now that you're representing Faith, and over the years that it's been a struggle with this industry, even when Amitabh Kant was there. He tried his best to do whatever he could do for the industry, but we asked for infrastructure status, we asked for industry status, we asked for a lot of it. One of it has come through, one has still not come through. We've asked for tax breaks, we've asked for, I'm not sure how many things we've asked for. My question to you is, when will the Indian government start taking tourism seriously? Or when will they start taking the tourism associations seriously, to recognize this as a business and at least focus on some of our demands? And I want a very candid answer.
You see, earlier, tourism was perceived as people staying in five-star hotels and only activity for the rich.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm talking about 15 years back. I was forced to write a book on poverty eradication and economic development through tourism, an action plan for creating 100 million jobs. I got a doctorate from Netherlands on that book. And I sent that book free of cost to every member of parliament, every single secretary, joint secretary in the government of India at that time.
Okay.
And I think in my own humble way, I was able to change slightly that perception. I fought for 20 years to get e-visa introduced or visa on arrival introduced. Sheldon, you are aware of it. I took it up in SOCHAM, I took it up in CII, I took it up in various forums. As ITO president, I took it up so many times. We went even up to, Sonia Gandhi and all the other, that time Congress. Finally, we were able to make a breakthrough after 20 years when Arun Jaitley, my friend, became the finance minister. And we got e-visa done, and I was ITO president that time, and the home minister was so... we had interaction with the home minister, with home secretary, with everyone, and we were able to convince them that yes, this will double the number of tourism. So the home minister was so happy that ITO did the inaugural function or announcement of e-visa was, the whole program was financed by ITO when I was president, and it was announced. Now, e-visa is not just helping only ITO, it helps everyone. It helps the economy of the country. So we were able to get e-visa. I've been fighting for opening the skies. Earlier, you see what was happening was that bilaterals were based on a principle of reciprocity. And any airline that came into India had to pay a royalty to Air India. And I remember I was the first person who said in front of, the minister and even in one of the prime minister's meetings that Air India is important, but India is more important than Air India. And the multiplier effect on the economy and the job creation and all that. Now, we are a democratic country. You see, here, everything, if we were a dictatorship, you could convince one person. Here, why do we have to go to the court? You see, because, every association has a managing committee. And even if the decision is not unanimous, even if there's one or two members opposing the decision of going to the court, we cannot go to the court. In ITO, we took the help of TAFI and we found out the issues that they had gone on. So we have gone on strategically on different issues. They have gone against refunds with airlines and all. We have gone for refunds also from airlines, but from a larger period from the time visas were refused, right? And also for the hotels. So basically, Rome was not built in a day. We cannot get results. I know how hard we all have worked for, now there are no royalty systems for opening the skies.
So, that's what I'm saying. When will the government of India start taking the association seriously?
The government has started taking tourism seriously. At least, the tourism ministry's allocations have increased tremendously. When I first became the president of ITO, I remember we had only about 300 members. But first thing we did is I got the Prime Minister of India to inaugurate the annual convention in Vigyan Bhavan. And that gave a boost to the tourism industry. And at that time also, I was going through the other day his speech. Even he was not clear on the multiplier effect of tourism on the economy and job creation. So we have to keep fighting. You see, people keep changing. New people keep coming. We have to keep, it's a constant, it's a constant war. It's like, they said, one of our learned friends said that, I think PP, that, why all the doctors are working very hard. Why isn't a vaccine out as yet? So we are all working very hard. We cannot give a deadline that tomorrow it will be out. right? Or tomorrow the government will suddenly start listening, right? You never know if one of us is there in the cabinet and, we are able to influence. But we are all leaving no stone unturned. And I tell you, I think today our voice is the strongest. We have not got any, cash refunds or anything, but I'm very hopeful that because the industry is for the first time united, and we have taken a lot of united action. We are supporting each other. We don't have any egos about ourselves, and the way we are supporting each other, this is started. This is the biggest blessing in disguise of this COVID-19. And I think every dark cloud has a silver lining, and this is the silver lining. And it is the darkest before dawn. I'm very hopeful. I think positively. I think this crisis, unitedly we'll stand, divided we'll fall. And fortunately, we are united. We shall overcome. We are there to help each other, and we are working together. And I'm sure in the larger national interest, we will continue working together, and we will keep working hard, just like the doctors, till the vaccine is found. We are also, in our own way, economic doctors.
Well,
We create jobs. We will keep fighting until and unless the government starts listening to us and tourism becomes, the most important industry, because it's the largest employment generator in the world.
absolutely. So,
That's what we need.
that's what I said. So it is the largest employment generator in the world with probably the weakest voice. The IT industry has NASSCOM. Do you see a NASSCOM in the tourism industry post COVID? Do any of you all see a NASSCOM?
No,
In
faith
the-
is the NASSCOM of the tourism industry. Uh, NASSCOM was there much before. Faith is, a recently formed organization. Uh, During pre-COVID days, we did two, buyer-seller meets, which were very successful. Right? We had more than 250, world best tour operators selected from 1,000 delegates who came. And the hotels gave us 5-star rooms, 1,000 nights. The travel agents, tour operators helped us. Travel agents helped us with the ticketing. The tour operators helped us, with, or guides even helped us. So what I'm saying is the industry is together. And I think Faith is the umbrella organization. Yes, we don't have the funds which NASSCOM has. We don't have, Infosys and, other multi-billionaires with us. But we are small, and but we have, strength in our numbers. We are united, and we have confidence in our leader. I think whether it's TIE, whether it's Staffy, whether it's AD2I, or it is ETA, we all are united, and our leadership is all, from the grassroots level. We are all fighters. We are street fighters.
But before that, one clarification. We have two cases in Supreme Court. One which we are supporting this privacy, and one is our own, which is again for refunds that should be paid through travel agents. That's one. Yes, now, firstly, what Subhash ji has said, I compliment him for doing a lot of things, and even the e-visas and have increased. And of course, Faith could become as a NASSCOM, because we have to complement and work together. That's number one. Number two is, see now what will start in tourism initially would be the domestic, because of fears the other countries. Of course, the states are having a problem, and the government, our Prime Minister's support on the Atmanirbhar program, which is self-confidence, and with today being an auspicious day where our Ram Mandir is also come into in Ayodhya, which I think as a tourism potential, they're comparing it to Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Yep. So we have one potential just come in today. I mean, it could be in whatever way people will come and see the Hindus from the other. So what I'm only trying to say that we, and I as Staffy, I'm very, as a president, I have complimented the Prime Minister on even building this kind of a thing. Though people are saying that this is unnecessary expense. According to me, it is something which will promote tourism and livelihood. Over and above that, the Statue of Liberty. So I'm just saying that what we have to do is we have to tell people that just sustain this time, because see, India is gonna get all the negativity, negativity of China is gonna come into India, and I can endorse it that if we can sustain for 2 or 3 years, our tourism will become much higher than what it was in pre-COVID. So it is only the dark cloud which is there, which is actually is on top of us, and the government, because of their various reasons, because they have to support the weaker section and other things. But I'm 100% sure if in faith, if we all combine together and show our unity. See, associations is relevant in its own way of doing providing membership their benefits. But faith is when we are never talked like this ever. That GDP is 10% and creation of employment and even the unskilled employment in tourism is the highest. So if we keep on supporting and moving to the government, and when things improve, I think it could come. So NASSCOM could be faith, according to me.
So NASSCOM could be faith. Jyoti, both all three of the gentlemen have been extremely positive and extremely cooperative, and I haven't seen 3 or 4 associations bond so well on one screen. I can't say one stage, but one screen. Do you think that this is this one of the new trends that we're going to see?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I started it when I said faith has anyone got a unified body, and we have been working very closely since the time the pandemic has actually taken over. And we are so strong that I think I don't see any reason for this whole industry to change. I think we, with all our strengths, will be able to do that. We've seen Civil Aviation Ministry, which used to never interact with us. They've, like Pradeep said, they've only acted as, they've always felt like IATA feels that they belong to the airlines. I've seen a change in them. I've seen Mr. Puri, actually our minister, actually WhatsApping us and talking to us. I've seen the secretary talk to us every single day. I talk to him. So I think things like this have brought a change into the entire industry. We see Ministry of Tourism doing everything with our consensus. They are talking to us on a daily basis. Even for a webinar, they talk to us. We have given a document to them how antibody testing should take place to Ministry of Aviation, a big document from Roche, and it's already there, and that's how they are changing. We are giving that to Ministry of Tourism now. So if we say that, every association is bringing the best into the whole kitty, I think. So I think that is what is to be seen. It really doesn't matter. Like you said, it's about a wife. A wife does behave differently at different times. So she does get into her moods of, doing whatever she needs to. But yes, the strength is always there, and the two they could have a difference of opinion, but they don't part ways. It's not so easy to part ways. So why shouldn't we become NASSCOM? We are the NASSCOM of today, tomorrow, and will always remain. And I think the associations are here to stay. Maybe we'll try to bring in all the smaller associations into our fold. We will work collectively towards that, because I think it is very important. And saying that, I would also say another thing, that this, whatever that comes, I mean, after every downturn, there is always going upwards too. So I think it's going to change. It's not that the pandemic is going to remain forever. The vaccine will come out, if not today, even if it comes out after 3 months. We've sustained for 6 months. We will sustain for another 3 months. We will see in the meantime how to actually motivate our members to restructure themselves, to reskill themselves, to upscale themselves, to how to look into the strategies of doing business again in the new norms, what the new norms are going to be, how they should be actually looking into each and every structuring and their negotiations. How can we help them in negotiations? So the point is to work in a cooperation, and that is the need of the hour. And I think that's what we are telling our members. And you started off by saying, Sheldon, that the members are asking us that are these bodies relevant? I don't think I've heard that. I don't think I've heard that from my membership at all. I think today, when I'm interacting with them, I'm interacting much, much more than I would have ever thought about. My days are merging into nights. My nights are merging into mornings. I'm working 24 by 7, which I don't think I would have done without COVID-19 being there. It's 24 by 7 we are working. And I think our members are very intelligent people. They know when one is working and what they realize that. They actually give us the credit for it. Yes, we are not gods. We cannot undo what has been done all over these years. We do not have a magic wand in a hand that I'm going to just put it across and say, hey, it's going to happen. So we are working towards the betterment of the industry. And I'm sure we are here to stay, to guide our members, to look into all the relevant matters and help them to actually adopt all the best practices of business. I think that's what we are here for, and we will achieve that.
Thanks, Jyoti. You had the first word, you had the last word, but I can't believe what I'm seeing. I think this is the actual changing trend. I don't think there's going to be a bigger changing trend in the industry as much as these 4 major associations and maybe coming together with the other 7 or 8 of them that are part of Faith working together. That would be a joy to see.
10 of them.
10 of us.
10 of them. 10 of the associations.
Joy to see, because I've finished over 2 decades in this industry and I've never seen so much bonhomie and so much camaraderie between these associations. I think that's the first new trend we're going to see post COVID. But ladies and gentlemen, all 4 of y'all, thank you so much for taking the time out. I think it's been very enlightening. When we actually go live with this as a capsule, as a news capsule, we're going to actually let the audience see this new bonhomie between the associations, and we're going to hope that actually in the next couple of years this goes forward the way it does. Because if it does, and all of y'all are actually working together to, let's say, make Faith the new NASSCOM of this industry, then I think the tourism industry has a lot to look forward to. And like Pradeep said, China was the tourism powerhouse of South Asia or the entire Asian continent. But India has the great opportunity now to benefit from all the fallouts that China is facing for the rest of the world. So thank you again, all 4 of you, for taking the time out. And sorry if I was a little pointed in my questions, but then I always wanted to be. And you'll know me better than that. But for all
we enjoyed it, don't worry.
Yeah.
For all the view,
we really enjoy, Sheldon, all these things. And but actually, Pradeep ji also said, that we are at the moment we are number 3 in the domestic market.
Yeah. Yes.
US is number 1, and the second is China. And we are very hopeful that what actually Pradeep ji said, that after 3 or 4 years, you will see India will be number 1 in domestic tourism.
Yes, so I think domestic tourism is going to be the fastest growing segment after
Yes,
COVID.
correct. Yeah.
Sheldon, congratulations. You have done a great job.
Great job.
Only,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all.
only one slight correction.
Yes.
We will not become like NASSCOM.
We are.
We are the
I was going to say that.
Faith is the NASSCOM of the tourism industry, and we'll become stronger day by day. And I'm sure we'll remain united and we'll go in strength.
So all those powerful words, I'm going to leave it to the opinion of the travel trade who's going to be watching this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a really, really eye-opening debate. Something that I didn't really think that would come about. Something that I thought was a little unexpected, but then some of the things that we expect in this post-COVID era are really unexpected. So this coming together of these associations, the support that we have seen them talk about for each other, brilliant. It's never a bad thing. And 3 or 4 really good points that came out of there. I think one, to use this time, the time that the members have on hand, to use this time for knowledge. That knowledge going forward can translate into being able to raise finance, able to diversify business, move from outbound to domestic to tourism. So that's a good thing. I think most of the associations have supported this knowledge venture. The fact that they are willing to work together to get the airlines to give them refunds is another plus that has come out of this, I think. How they go about this is only time will tell. The fact that Faith is already being seen as NASCOM, that's something that is really, really interesting. They haven't said that Faith is actually going to be NASCOM. We're calling it the NASCOM of the travel industry now, which means that all of these associations are willing to rally around one apex body. We haven't seen that again in the past. So just as COVID-19 has been unprecedented, I think this is unprecedented as well. And while we're talking about changing trends, changing after COVID, changing this industry, I think one of the biggest changing trends that we're going to see, if all of this holds true and what we've just seen, is these 4 or 5 big associations come together, and then the rest of the associations kind of follow the pack. So I'm going to leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. I would want to know what your views are. If you need to write back to us, I'm going to leave you with some details. But if not, I hope you've enjoyed this discussion. I'd like to thank all my panelists for being superb here. They've been very candid in their views. I've asked some pointed questions, and I must apologize for that, but that was my intention. So if you who are watching this episode have some things to share with us, I'd like you to address your follow-up questions to our panelists or myself. Or would you like us to explore any further topics on future episodes? Please write to us at switch2@thedope.news. Thank you for tuning in. To view more such content, please subscribe to our channel. Please like, share, and comment on this video. Till next time, thank you very much.